Alright guys, today we're going to learn how to go through the whoop-de-doos. They call them whoops for one reason, because a lot of times you're holding on for dear life and saying whoops at the end of them because you've dropped a front wheel and you're end over into the face of a dirt pile. So we're going to start off by the main basic thing about whoops is being in the right gear. And I always tell people that that is the most important thing by far on the whoops, is making sure you're in a high enough gear. Whenever I'm going into a set of supercross whoops, even a set of rollers on an outdoor track, anything, you always want to be a gear higher than you'd normally be, sometimes even two. If you notice, as I'm coming off the jump before the whoop section, sometimes I'll definitely be clicking one gear, sometimes I'll grab two upshifts in the air, going from second to fourth. As you're entering into the whoops, you want to keep a steady throttle in that higher gear, and that way once you get into the whoops, what happens is as you're skipping across the top of them, your rear tire is leaving the ground, and what happens when it leaves the ground is it's revving out. So when you're in a gear too low, say you're in second gear, your bike's going to tap out and you're going to stop driving forward. While we get into that higher gear, third, fourth gear, as you leave from each whoop, your rear tire gets spinning a lot faster in those higher gears, and it takes off on each whoop. And that way you don't drop to the bottoms of them. And once you're in the bottoms, no good. You start skipping whoops, you start dropping the front end, and it's game over from there. Another huge factor in the whoops is making sure you're on the balls of your feet, not being on the arches. When you're on the balls of your feet, you allow your ankles to drop down, and it gives you that movement. It basically gives you just more suspension on your dirt bike. You're able to grip the side of the bike harder, you're able to drive through the whoops, and by having that extra little bit of suspension soaking up with your heels, dropping down, it's going to make you drive across the whoops straighter, faster, and not get out of shape, be able to grip that bike a whole lot better. Now another huge factor, body positioning. As soon as people get into the whoops, they get a little bit scared, and the first tendency to do on a motorcycle is to pull back. That is the exact wrong thing you do. You need to keep the body central over the front of the bike. You want your kind of bending at your hips to be planked over that motorcycle, where your front of your face is over the front number plate, over the front of the bike, but your hips and your butt is back and kind of arched over the bike. Some of the riders that are the best in riding in whoops, Chad Reed, Davey Millsaps, they've got this technique perfected. And no matter how big the whoops, they always focus on the top 6 inches and stay across the tops of them, and they make it look super easy because of body positioning and being in the proper gear.